All right, everyone. Last but not least, welcome to Lab 2 Sheet 3. Let's get started. All right, so first things first. Oop, wrong one. So come on into your folder and open up Lab 2 Sheet 3. Give that a second to open up. Should be your blank title block. And first things, of course, highlight your block, your title block. Right click and click Block Editor. And we are going to change the title block, Lab 2, Sheet 3. And go ahead and close the block editor. Always save. Otherwise, you'll have to do it again. The text won't save otherwise. And go over to Model Space. And let's get started. So looking at the assignment sheet for this, I actually like to kind of do some pre-work on stuff like this. If you don't have, like, for example, we don't have this dimension here, but if it's not given in the top view, but if you draw a reference line straight down, you see that, in fact, we actually do have that dimension. It's 2 inches. Also, the dimensions for this little box right here, we don't have those. But in fact, we know the height of that little box is 1.2 inches from the base of the part. And while we don't have these dimensions yet, we will have them soon enough. So I'd recommend doing something like this. You can grab a straight edge or a ruler or something like that, print it out, or just if you have, Microsoft Paint or something like that, your Windows Paint, whatever it is, you can go ahead and toss it in there as well. I personally use Adobe. I have Acrobat, so I can create lines and edit PDFs this way. That's what I use. Oops. All right, so we're going to turn on our grid snap and go ahead and start with a rectangle. Kind of start like up in this upper right hand corner here, maybe like 2 inches over, 1.5 inches down. D enter for dimensions, and that rectangle is going to be 3.5 inches by 2 inches. And then again, you have to snap your quadrant. Go ahead and snap, dragging down into the right a little bit. Now from here, with the grid snap on, we can grab our line tool, and we see, if I drag this in, we can kind of see. So we have this line, we don't have an angle for it, but we know it starts at the bottom line here, this bottom of the rectangle, at 1 inch, and it goes diagonal to the top at 2 inches. So easy enough with the grid snap. We have starting at 1 inch. Of course, I'm going to snap to my midpoint there for some reason. Let's for this, you may want to turn on your nearest if it's giving you problems. So just kind of come down here and click on nearest. And now it should allow us, yep, just like that, to select that point. I go all the way up, all the way over one more. There we go. We can verify that that is correct with a quick dimension just to verify. We got 2 inches and we got 1 inch. Excellent. And now we can turn off our grid snap. We will use it one other time, but it's a little annoying while you're drafting unless you really need to snap to a specific grid point. So we turn it off. And the next thing we're going to do is explode this rectangle. So recall that is the command is you highlight it and then type X, enter. And now we have our individual line segments. From here, we need to create these little legs that are on this part. And we can do that by offsetting the top line by 0.8 and then 0.5. That's how we're going to do that. So go ahead and select your top line and offset that. You grab the tool from right here or type O, enter. And the distance is going to be 0.8, enter. And then you have to click above or below, click below. Escape to exit the tool. Highlight this line here. O, enter for offset. 0.5, enter. and then click below. And then we just got to trim here and trim here. So TR, enter, trim, and there we have it. We already have the top view of our part. So the next thing we're going to do here, and actually I'm going to show you this in Adobe first, so you can kind of understand what it is we're doing here. So we are going to take our line tool, starting at this point here, draw 2 inches over, 1/2 inch down, 1.5 inches over, just like that. And then we're going to take another line starting here. Oop, grab my line tool again here in Adobe. Top left corner, down 1.5, over 3.5, and then we'll just connect those 2 lines just like that. So that's what we're going to do here. So I'm going to turn on my grid snap, grab my line tool, and then starting maybe, let's see. So we have dimensions that are going to come down here and then come up. So let's start 1.5 inches below at that left corner. Start here. We are going to draw a 2-inch line, and we can actually turn off our grid snap now. We're going to draw a 2-inch line, drag it, snap it so it's straight down at 90 degrees and type 0.5, enter. Snap it at 0 degrees, drag it out to the right, and this is going to be 1.5, enter. You can even check before you click escape on your line that you are lined up perfectly with the right side of the top view. Click escape. L, enter to enter your line tool again. You're going to draw from the top left corner, you're going to draw straight down 1.5, enter. Straight over, you can type 3.5, enter. Alternatively, you can kind of hover at this point for a sec, drag it straight down, and it will snap where you want it to be. Just like that. Now you just connect the dots. Next, looking at our part here. Next, we're going to draw from this point. Oop, I'm going to grab my line tool again. From this point, we're going to start here, draw over 1 inch and up 1 inch. We can see how that's lined up right there. Just like that. And then we are going to create this, and I'll show you how to do that. So line tool, L, enter. Starting at this point here. Drag it to the left till it snaps and type 1, enter, and then go straight up and snap it at the midpoint, just like that. Now, looking at our drawing, it looks like we don't have this dimension, like I mentioned, but we do. We have it right over here, this 1.2. So we know that we can offset this bottom line up by 1.2 inches, and that's going to be a good reference. It's going to be a good reference line for the top of that little square. So we can do that now. Highlight the lower line, O, enter for offset, 1.2, enter, and then you'll have to snap above or below, so click up above. Now we're going to take some construction lines. This is where they are up in the draw toolbar. Alternatively, you can type XL, enter, V, enter. And then using these 2 points, just snap to those 2 little points. And there we go. We see we have our little square. And with that, I'm going to use the more advanced trim tool. So I'm going to highlight this line, TR, enter. And then you can just click them, or you can just kind of click, drag like that. That's fine too. I'm going to use that advanced trim tool again. I'm going to highlight that line, TR, enter. Trim below, and then I'm going to grab both of these, TR, enter, trim this line out to this right, and trim this line out to the left. And what we're left with is our little square here, a little box. Now, to create this view, this side view over here, it doesn't look like we have the dimensions that we need. But in fact, we do. So we have this 1.5. We know that that's 1.5. We know that this is 2, but even if we didn't know that this was 2, we could still get this information. If we had this top view, but we didn't have a dimension here, we could still get this part. And what we're going to do here is grab a construction line. So we're going to type XL enter, but this time we're going to type A enter for angle. And then it's going to ask you for an angle. And we're going to say 45 degrees. And it has to be 45 degrees. If it's not 45 degrees, it's the dimensions at the end are not going to turn out correctly. So I'm going to go ahead and snap it right here. It doesn't really have to be. It could be here. It could be here. But if we snap it here, it's going to be too close, you'll see. And if we snap it right here, it should be just about right for where we want the location of this other view. And actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to delete that. Change your color up here. Change your color to yellow. Then do your angle again. So XL enter, A enter, 45 enter. And we got our little triangle midpoint, snap it right there. And then take horizontal construction lines, XL enter, H enter, and snap to these 4 points right here, just like this. And then we can actually trim everything to the right of this. So we're going to highlight that extension line, TR enter, and trim these lines off. I'm even going to trim. I'm going to trim that guy right there. Oops. And I'm going to trim below as well. Kind of helps to clean it up a little bit. If you want, you can even trim the rest of these. Just like that. And now you can even use Ray instead of using the extension line. So you can grab the Ray tool from right here, or you can type RAY, enter, click a point, and then just kind of draw straight down. So you can draw that too. I used to love using the Ray tool. Now I just feel that the construction line ends up being a little bit faster for me when I'm doing my drafting. So that's why I use the construction line tool instead of the Ray tool. So again, maybe we'll do the Ray tool this time. We're going to draw horizontal lines from every point of consequence here. So every point that we would see if we turned this piece to the right. So that's what we're doing here. We're creating the right view of this piece. So now we have this little grid right here, these intersecting lines. And to clean this up even further, I am going to trim. And now it doesn't look like much, but every single line that we need to finish our drawing exists right here in this little grid. So before we do anything else, I'm going to change my color to by layer again. And let's look at what we've got. Oops, wrong button. Okay, so first of all, we can draw from what we have, we can draw the perimeter. So we're going to do that first. Draw our line tool, or even you can take a rectangle tool if you want. This way you could just snap to the top left, snap to the bottom right. And there we go. We have our perimeter. And from there, we can go ahead and just delete all of our perimeter lines. We've used those already. Then if we look at our part here, we see this 1.2, it goes past these two lines, and we trim out right here. So we just trim everything all the way up to this line up here. So let's do that now. I'm going to use my trim tool, just like that. Grab my line tool and kind of connect the dots. Delete that, delete this. And the only thing we have left to do are to trace these two lines right here. And there we have it. So if we look now, we have everything all set up, and all we have to do is throw some dimensions on. So you've seen me, I've walked you through doing dimensions 2 times today. So I'm going to go ahead and put the dimensions on now, and you can do the same, and then we'll go ahead and plot. So now that we've got our dimensions on, I'm just going to click over to Paperspace to make sure that It's not crowding this. It is a little bit. So what I'm going to go ahead and do here is highlight the whole entire thing. Oops, double click inside the viewport. So just double click in there. Highlight everything. And then if yours is a little too close down here, you could just move it. So I typed M enter to execute the move command. Remember, it's also right up here, the top left of the modify toolbar. That's positioned a little bit better on the page. Don't forget to double click out of the viewport, right click sheet 1, plot, change the page setup name to hack title block, click OK. And browse to where you would like to save this. Hopefully it's in your Catalan 54 course folder that you have downloaded. Lab 2 sheet 3, make sure it's named correctly, save. And that is that. So let's just double check, make sure it's looking good. This is in students, lab 2 sheet 3. And there we go. Plotted perfectly, dimensioned very well. And there you have it. So that will be your third submission for lab 2. Go ahead and drop that in the Dropbox, and I will see you next week.